Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This morning we got a pretty unexpected behind the ships episode for the Greycat MTC. We are going to take a brief look at that. There's just a couple little things I want to talk about with that little ground vehicle, and then we're also going to go over some of the stuff that's going on this week. Of course, we have Invictus starting. We're going to go over the schedule for all the different content and different things we're going to have. There's a couple little interesting things I want to talk about with that, and we're going to go over some other general news for the coming week and the coming event of Invictus. So let's go ahead and get into it. So again, we're not going to watch the full episode. It's only 3 minutes and 22 seconds. It's pretty short for Behind the Ships. I will just note a couple of things that I had not seen yet as part of the vehicle. So one is they mentioned outside on this is, the side or something like that. There is personal storage access, so you can get to that from the outside of the vehicle. There might be some additional storage access on the inside as well. So we have that here. And then the cool thing is right on the back here we have this little cargo area for some 1/8 SU boxes, and it looks really cool because these ones right here that it's showing will slide out to the left and right, and the two behind it would slide out, so it's like 4 in a row. But it looks like then when you retract it, the two in the middle go back, and then they slide up into the body of the vehicle. Then these slide in, and that little little hatch closes. So that's just a nice nifty little storage solution. I don't know that I've ever seen something like that before. So, give you a little bit of storage space. You could do you could put some delivery boxes there, or just some storage boxes to hold some extra supplies and things. But I don't know, just a really just a little cool little detail that I noticed. That's a little cool thing about this. I think from the tires here, they're going for like an airless tire look. So this is supposed to be a rugged off-grid vehicle. So I guess that makes sense that they have something like that. Other than that, there's not really a ton to talk about for this, at least at the moment. I'm sure once we get it, we'll be able to take a little bit more of a look at it. But it's just a pretty simple vehicle. It looks nice. I'm sure it was probably a first project for some newer developers, newer ship artists. So it looks really good. I'm really hoping it'll be in like the $45 to $50 range and no more than that. I think that would make it a really good LTI token. But yeah, otherwise I think it won't see a ton of practical use now, but probably in the future, once ground vehicles are more utilized for other things, this could be a pretty useful vehicle to use. Next, let's briefly go over the This Week in Star Citizen announcement. A little bit of a thing to note here is in the introduction section, they state, in January, we relaunched the bi-monthly Squadron 42 newsletter with exclusive content and behind-the-scenes information throughout, and on Thursday of this week, we'll be opening that content to all citizens. It's your chance to see what you may have been missing and sign up before the next release goes exclusively to subscribers at the end of this month. So we should be getting... in that newsletter, there was a video showing some of the recording of some of the soundtrack stuff, just a little bit of a showcase of that. So they may be putting that up to their public-facing YouTube channel. You can find the video now, but it's like unlisted on their YouTube channel. So that may be going up just for anyone to see. And then we should be getting a new Squadron 42 newsletter at the end of this month. Hopefully we get some interesting stuff there. The last one was like just a little bit of stuff about the Vanduul language, so I don't know. It wasn't anything that crazy, so maybe we'll get a little bit more of an interesting one this month because it's Invictus. It's the big military event, so we'll have to see. So then specifically for what we'll be having this week on Monday, again today, we got the Behind the Ships episode for the Greycat MTC. There's also the Invictus Launch Week FAQ we'll take a look at, again, just a couple questions of that. They're saying tomorrow we'll get the manufacturer schedule, and though I'm pretty sure we already got that like a week or two ago, so I don't know, maybe they had to make a little adjustment or something to it. We'll have to see. And then Wednesday, we will be getting another Behind the Ships episode. Now, this is an interesting point because, so if we look, Thursday and Friday, those days will be Aegis and Greycat, and then Saturday and Sunday are RSI, Origin, and Argo. So the only known vehicle for sure that's coming out of all those 4 days is the Greycat MTC. Again, we just had the behind the ships for it this morning. So I do wonder if they're going to start, if this one on Wednesday will already be for like the Guardian MX or the Asgard or something like that. I feel like maybe they do those next week, since that's the week when those will actually be going flight ready. So I have a hunch that this Behind the Ships episode could be talking about the Idris. If we indeed get the Idris going flight ready, the Idris P going flight ready on Aegis Day, so May 15th, the day that Invictus starts, we might get the Idris going flight ready and the Greycat MTC. So it's possible, and I could see them doing a Behind the Ships episode talking about what led them to deciding to do this, what little changes there are for now. Again, from what we had heard from the bar citizen in China, John Crew had said that we won't get the updated Idris model that they showed off in the Squadron 42 prologue until Squadron releases. So you would have the old model for now, but maybe there's some other little changes or things like that they want to talk about for that. So it's a possibility. So I think we will know pretty solidly on Wednesday. If it's the Idris, of course, that makes it pretty obvious the Idris is releasing. But if it's then all ready for another ship, then I think it's pretty likely then that the Idris will not be coming. But with it being the day before the event starts, I am leaning towards it being the Idris right now. I think I'm like up to like 90% convinced that we're getting the Idris. So we'll have to see. But then after that, on Thursday, of course, the event starts officially. The first 2 days, the 15th and the 16th, are going to be Aegis and Greycat. That's when the free fly starts. Friday, they will be publishing the Q&A Invictus ship talk that we had seen from that bar citizen. They'll be publishing it officially on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it a little bit easier, hear stuff a little bit easier. We'll get the weekly newsletter with a sneak peek, hopefully, of what's coming next. And that also on Saturday and Sunday, that's when we start and go over RSI, Origin, and Argo. I would love to hear some news, or maybe a little sneak peek or something on the current work in progress of maybe the Perseus, see how it looks. I know that they kind of showed it off. They showed the Polaris off last year at this similar time. So it'd be cool if they show us a little bit of that. We'll have to see. Maybe that'll be in the next week. But that is what we have for the going on of this week. And then let's take a quick look at the Invictus FAQ. There's just a couple little things I want to talk about in that. So here we have the Invictus Q&A. Again, there's some very general questions, just what exactly is Invictus launch week? Where does it start? Where is the event in game? Things like that. There's a couple little questions or little answers here I want to go over. So there is a question where they go over, where can I see the UEE fleet? Because usually they have a fleet of, Javelin, Idris, all those sorts of things that fly around. They're just kind of a thing you can go see. They say the Navy's fearsome fleet is needed elsewhere and is currently out for deployment. It won't be making an appearance this Invictus launch week. So sounds like, they probably just didn't want to spend the time getting that working. They can do it another year when they have more resources available that aren't, polishing Squadron, trying to make Star Citizen itself work better. So, it's understandable. And then we have, of course, there will be Warbond daily deals available. They're going to change every single day. There might be some that return in the finale. There's probably going to be some new ones as well. And then there is information for the stock limited ships. So the waves will be at wave 1 is at 9 a.m. Pacific, wave 2 5 p.m. Pacific, and wave 3 1 a.m. Pacific. On May 15th, you'll have the Aegis Idris P and the Aegis Javelin, so that'll probably be both the days that they have that available. The Aegis is one of the manufacturers. And then starting on May 17th, you'll have the RSI Constellation Phoenix. And starting on May 25th, you'll have the Drake Kraken and Kraken Privateer. So if you're looking to get any of those ships, I think probably the most popular of those right now would be people going for the Idris P, assuming it releases. Then that's the information you would need to know. I thought potentially that, maybe if they were going to release the Idris P, maybe for this event, they would lift the cap on the stock limited ships, the stock limited capacity for the Idris P specifically. So if anyone wanted to get it, it would be, anyone can get it during this event this one time when it, first goes flight ready, and then after that it goes back to being quantity limited. But I guess that's not how they're going to do it. So maybe they'll increase how many they allow to be sold. We'll have to see. And then the last thing is, there was a question of, will there be a Drake Defense Con this year? There will be no in-game Drake Defense Con this year. Word on the street is that Drake Interplanetary has overstayed their welcome on ArcCorp. But, true to form, Drake has found a way to let everyone test fly and pledge their ships on day 11 of Invictus launch week. They're simply not allowed in the expo hall this year. Again, this probably has to do with just it would take extra dev resources and time to get that separate hall set up. That's probably also why they're doing a different hall convention layout this year, just because it doesn't take as much time away from fixing the game, polishing squadron, those sorts of things. So whether or not we see DefenseCon return like next year, we'll have to see. But that is why we will not have a separate hall for the Drake ships this year. Then the last thing I'll go over today is actually something that just came a couple of minutes ago for me, about 20 minutes ago. This was on a thread in Spectrum talking about the new referral program. When they announced that, they said that your current referrals will not be carried over to the new program when that starts, I believe, on July 1st. We do have a little bit more information that Xylo replied to this post. He said, "We received a lot of valuable feedback following the announcement, and we're excited to share more updates with you soon. In the meantime, we can confirm that all existing prospects will carry over." So that would be if someone has created a RSI account and put your referral code in, but if they just have not bought a game package yet, those prospects would carry over to the new referral system. And then he says, "We also know how important it is for you to showcase your referral achievements. So your total referral count, including those earned before the new ladder goes live, will still be visible. As part of the revamp, we're introducing a new leaderboard with flexible sorting options by time, weekly, monthly, yearly, and all-time. The all-time view will include every referral, even those from the original ladder." So I think this is, a little bit of a nice change. I think a lot of people just still don't like that, if someone's between like a referral ladder that's like 10 referrals and 25 and they're at like 18, they'll just lose all that progress of getting from the 10 to the 25. So I've seen some people suggest maybe if they just take, if they're at 18, they take the difference, so they give them 8 referrals starting on the new ladder. I could see it. I think that would be a decent compromise, I guess you could call it. So we'll have to see what they decide to do on that. But that's going to do it for this video, going over some of the weekly news stuff coming out this week. Invictus starting this week, the Inside the Ships episode on the Greycat MTC, a couple little dev post things. So if you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like, as it really helps the channel. If you want to see more testing videos, ship videos of all the new ship stuff coming out in the next few days, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And until next time, I will see you in the verse.